I'm Margaret, and I need to tell you about the moment my family showed me exactly what I meant to them. It came wrapped in tissue paper and cost $10. The package arrived 3 days after Christmas. I was still in my robe, nursing my second cup of coffee and trying to shake off the loneliness that had settled over me like a heavy blanket. James hadn't called on Christmas Day. Neither had Victoria, my daughter-in-law. The silence from my grandchildren, Emma and Luke, hurt the most. When I opened that small box and saw the vanilla candle inside, the kind you find at a gas station, I actually laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was so perfectly them. No card, no note, just a cheap candle that probably cost less than the shipping. I set it on my kitchen table and stared at it for a long time. 34 years of motherhood had led to this moment. 34 years of putting James first, of sacrificing my own dreams so he could have his. My phone buzzed. A notification from Instagram. Victoria had posted photos from their Christmas celebration. I shouldn't have looked, but I did. There they were, all of them. Before we continue, comment where you're watching from and subscribe to the channel. We'd love to see how far our stories are reaching. Gathered around a massive Christmas tree in what looked like a luxury cabin. Designer sweaters, expensive watches, gift boxes with names I recognized. Tiffany, Louis Vuitton, Apple. The caption read, "Perfect family Christmas in our Aspen retreat. So blessed." Our Aspen retreat. My stomach dropped. I scrolled through more photos. James unwrapping a new Rolex. Victoria showing off diamond earrings. The children with iPads, gaming systems, designer clothes. Every gift probably cost more than most people's monthly salary. And they had sent me a $10 candle. I called James immediately. He answered on the fourth ring, and I could hear laughter in the background. "Hi, Mom. How was your Christmas?" "James, where are you?" "Oh, we're in Aspen." Victoria found this amazing place. We needed a real family vacation, you know? Just the core family. Just the core family. The words hit me like a slap. "I see. And how are you paying for this amazing place?" He was quiet for a moment. "Mom, you worry too much about money. We'll figure it out." But I already knew how they were figuring it out. The same way they always did. "Did you get our gift?" Victoria's voice came through the phone. She had taken it from James. "The candle?" "Yes, I got it." "Oh, good." I wasn't sure about the scent, but the lady at the store said vanilla was popular. The lady at the store. She hadn't even chosen it herself. "Victoria, can I ask you something?" "Of course. How much did you spend on Christmas gifts this year?" She laughed, that tinkling sound she made when she was nervous. "Oh, you know how it is during the holidays. We got a little carried away. But it's Christmas, right? You only live once." "And how much did James's watch cost?" "Mom." James was back on the phone. "Why are you asking about money? It's Christmas." "It was Christmas, James. 3 days ago, when you were celebrating without me. We invited you. You said mountain air bothers your allergies." I had said that 8 months ago, when they first mentioned Aspen, but they hadn't invited me to Christmas. They had invited me to join them for a ski trip in March. This was something entirely different. "I need to go," I said quietly. "Mom, don't be dramatic. We'll be home in a few days and we'll do Christmas then, okay? We'll come over and you can make that turkey thing you do. That turkey thing I do. 34 years of Christmas dinners, and it was just that turkey thing. I hung up without saying goodbye. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the photos, about James's smile as he unwrapped his expensive watch, about how happy they all looked without me there. I had raised James by myself after his father left when he was 7. I worked 2 jobs to keep us afloat, then put myself through nursing school so I could give him a better life. I paid for his college, his wedding, the down payment on their house. When Victoria wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, I helped with their expenses so she could. When James's business hit rough patches, I was there with whatever he needed. I had always told myself it was love. That's what mothers do. We sacrifice, we give. We put our children first. But as I sat there in the dark, looking at that $10 candle, I realized something that made my chest tight with grief. They didn't see my sacrifices as love. They saw them as my job. I wasn't their mother. I was their bank account with emotions attached. The next morning, I went to check my mailbox and found something that would change everything. It was thick and official looking. My credit card statement. My hands shook as I opened it. The balance was $47,328. Aspen luxury cabin rental, $8,500. High-end restaurant charges, $2,400. Shopping sprees at designer stores, $12,000. Ski equipment and lessons, $6,800. Spa treatments, $3,200. More restaurants, more shopping, more indulgences I couldn't even identify. They had charged their entire Christmas vacation to my credit card, without asking, without even telling me. I sat down heavily in my kitchen chair. The statement spread out in front of me like evidence of a crime. $47,000. While I got a $10 candle, the phone rang. It was James. Hey, Mom. Quick question. Are you planning to use your credit card this week? We're thinking of extending our trip a few days and… James. My voice was so calm it surprised even me. Come home. Now. What? Why? We're having such a great time and… Come home now or I'm canceling the card. There was silence. Then Victoria's voice in the background. What's wrong with her? Mom, you're being unreasonable. We can talk about this when we get back. We're family. We share things. That's what families do. I looked at the candle sitting on my table. $10. That's what I was worth to the family I had given everything to. You're right, James. That is what families do. They share things. They also share respect and love and consideration. We do love you, Mom. You know that. For 34 years, I had believed that. But love isn't supposed to cost $47,000 and come with a $10 consolation prize. I hung up the phone and made a decision that would change all of our lives forever. But they didn't know that yet. The next 3 days passed in a blur of disbelief and growing anger. I kept the credit card statement on my kitchen table, next to that ridiculous candle, reading through the charges over and over like I was studying evidence of my own stupidity. 47,328 hours. The number burned itself into my mind. I had worked as a nurse for 30 years. Do you know how many 12-hour shifts that represents? How many times I came home with aching feet and a sore back, counting every penny to make sure James had what he needed? They came home on a Tuesday afternoon. I heard Victoria's car in my driveway, the BMW I had helped them buy 2 years ago when she decided their old Honda wasn't suitable for the kids. James's truck followed behind. I watched from my living room window as they unloaded shopping bags, lots of them, more purchases I probably paid for. James knocked on my front door like he was visiting a neighbor, not coming to see his mother. When I opened it, he was holding a small gift bag. Hey, Mom, we brought you something from Aspen. Victoria stood behind him, perfectly styled as always, holding my grandson Luke's hand. Emma was nowhere to be seen, probably in the car with her phone. Come in, I said quietly. They settled into my living room like they owned it. James handed me the gift bag with a smile. Inside was a snow globe with Aspen written in gold letters across the base. It probably cost $15. We thought you'd like a souvenir, Victoria said brightly, since you couldn't make it with us. I set the snow globe on my coffee table next to the credit card statement. James's eyes flicked to the papers and I saw his face change slightly. So, I said, settling into my chair across from them. Tell me about your trip. For the next 20 minutes, they talked about the amazing restaurants, the beautiful slopes, the luxury spa, the shopping. Victoria showed me photos on her phone, herself getting a massage, James on the ski slopes, the kids in designer snow gear. It was exactly what we needed, Victoria sighed. Just to reconnect as a family, you know? No stress, no worries about money. No worries about money. I almost laughed. Speaking of money, I said, picking up the credit card statement, I got this while you were gone. The room went quiet. Luke was playing with a toy truck on the floor, oblivious to the tension. James cleared his throat. Mom, we can explain. Please do. Well, you know how tight things have been with the business, and Christmas is expensive. We figured you wouldn't mind helping out, especially since you always say family comes first. I looked at my son, my only child, the boy I had sacrificed everything for, and felt something inside me break. You figured I wouldn't mind. $47,000, and you figured I wouldn't mind. Victoria shifted uncomfortably. Margaret, you have to understand. We have expenses, the kids' private school, the house payments, my personal trainer. It's not like we were being frivolous. Personal trainer? I repeated slowly. Well, yes. Health is important. You always said health is important. I had said that. When I was working double shifts to pay for James's college, skipping meals to afford his textbooks, I had told him health was important. I never imagined those words would come back to justify spa treatments charged to my credit card. James, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. Do you remember when you were 12 and wanted that expensive baseball glove? He nodded, looking confused. I worked an extra shift every week for 2 months to save up for it. Do you remember what I told you when I gave it to you? Mom, I don't see what… I told you that real love sometimes means sacrifice. That when you love someone, you work hard to give them what they need, even when it's difficult. Victoria rolled her eyes. Margaret, that's different. You were his mother. It was your job to provide for him. My job. There it was again. And now? What's my job now? To support your family, Victoria said, as if it was obvious. James is your son. Luke and Emma are your grandchildren. Family takes care of family. You're right, I said quietly. Family does take care of family. So tell me, Victoria, how does your family take care of me? She blinked, clearly not expecting the question. We visit you. We include you in holidays. Do you? Because I spent Christmas alone while you were in Aspen. On my dime. James leaned forward. Mom, you're being unfair. We invited you to come with us in March for a weekend. After you spent 2 weeks there without me, we needed space to bond as a nuclear family, Victoria said defensively. Nuclear family, as if I was some kind of radioactive element they needed to contain. I stood up and walked to my kitchen, needing space to breathe. They followed me, Luke trailing behind with his truck. Mom, James said, his tone becoming impatient. I don't understand why you're making such a big deal about this. You have the money. You're not using it for anything else. I turned to face him. How do you know what I'm using my money for? Because you live simply. You don't travel. You don't buy expensive things. You just save it. Did it ever occur to you that maybe I save it because I never know when my family might charge $50,000 to my credit card without asking? Victoria laughed. Actually laughed. Oh, please, Margaret. Don't be so dramatic. It's not like we maxed out the card. I went to my junk drawer and pulled out the credit card. I held it up so they could see it. You're right. You didn't max it out. The limit is $60,000. You left me with less than $13,000 of available credit on my own card. The room went quiet again. But here's what really gets me, I continued, my voice growing stronger. It's not the money. It's the $10 candle. James frowned. What? While you were spending $47,000 of my money, you sent me a $10 candle. That's what you think I'm worth. $10. Mom, that's not— No, James, let me finish. For 34 years, I have given you everything. Everything. I worked 2 jobs to raise you alone. I put you through college. I paid for your wedding. I helped with your house, your car, your business, your wife's shopping trips. I have never said no to you. Not once. My voice was shaking now, but I couldn't stop. And in return, you give me a gas station candle and charge your luxury vacation to my credit card. Do you have any idea how that feels? Victoria stood up, her face flushed. You know what, Margaret? You're being selfish. We're your family. This is what families do for each other. Really? What exactly do you do for me? We let you be part of our lives. We bring the kids to see you. Let me be part of their lives. As if my presence was a favor they granted me. I looked at my son, waiting for him to say something. Anything. To tell his wife she was wrong, to apologize, to show me that somewhere inside him was the little boy who used to hug me tight and tell me I was the best mom in the world. Instead, he shrugged. Mom, you know we love you. But Victoria's right. This is how families work. You help us out, and we appreciate it. That's the deal. The deal. 34 years of unconditional love, and he called it a deal. That night, after they left with promises to talk about this more later, I sat in my kitchen with that stupid snow globe and that $10 candle. I realized something that should have terrified me but instead filled me with a strange sense of calm. I was done making deals. The next morning I did something I hadn't done in years. I called in sick to work. I wasn't really sick, not physically anyway, but something inside me had broken the night before. And I needed time to think, time to plan. I made coffee and sat at my kitchen table with a yellow legal pad. At the top, I wrote, "What Margaret wants." Then I stared at the blank page for 20 minutes, realizing I had no idea how to answer that question. For 34 years, my wants had been simple. Make James happy. Keep James safe. Give James opportunities I never had. Everything I did, every decision I made, revolved around him. But what did I want for me? I started small. I wanted to wake up on Christmas morning and feel excited instead of anxious about whether my gifts were good enough. I wanted to travel without worrying about leaving money available for James's emergencies. I wanted to buy something nice for myself without calculating whether I was taking food out of my grandchildren's mouths. The phone rang. James. Hey, Mom, how are you feeling today? I'm fine, sweetheart. Good. Listen, Victoria was thinking maybe we could all go to dinner this weekend. You know, clear the air about yesterday. Maybe that new steakhouse downtown? The new steakhouse, where dinner for 4 would cost $200, which he would expect me to pay for while he cleared the air about spending my money without permission. That sounds nice, I said calmly. Are you paying? Silence, then a laugh. Mom, you know things are tight right now with the business. Of course. Let me think about it. Think about what? It's just dinner. I said I'd think about it, James. After I hung up, I made a decision that felt both terrifying and liberating. I drove to the bank. Mrs. Patterson. The branch manager smiled as I approached her desk. Linda Patterson had handled my accounts for 15 years. What can I do for you today? I need to make some changes to my accounts. Remove someone's access. Her expression became professional, neutral. Of course. Which accounts? All of them. It took 2 hours to remove James from everything. Checking, savings, the money market account, even the small trust I had set up for the grandchildren's college. Linda didn't ask questions, but I saw concern in her eyes. Mrs. Patterson, she said carefully as I signed the final form. Are you sure about the trust fund? Your son won't be able to access it for the children's education? I'm sure. And the credit cards? Cancel the ones he has access to. I'll need new cards with new numbers. She nodded, typing notes. This will take a few days to process completely. He'll get notification that his access has been revoked. Good. My next stop was the law office of Robert Chen, an estate attorney Victoria had once complained was too expensive when she suggested James needed a will. If he was too expensive for them, he was perfect for me. Mrs. Patterson, I understand you want to update your estate planning. I want to change everything. My will, my beneficiaries, all of it. Mr. Chen was a small man with kind eyes who had probably seen every family drama imaginable. He didn't seem surprised by anything I told him. Your current will leaves everything to your son? Yes, I want that changed. Do you have other family members you'd like to include? I thought about this. My sister lived in Florida, and we talked maybe twice a year. My brother had died 5 years ago. I had a few cousins scattered around the country. I want to leave $10,000 to my son. That's it. Mr. Chen raised an eyebrow. And the rest of your estate? I want to research some charities, organizations that help single mothers go back to school. Maybe something for nurses who can't afford continuing education. He nodded, taking notes. And your life insurance? Change the beneficiary from James to the same charities. Mrs. Patterson, these are significant changes. Are you sure you don't want to discuss this with your family first? Mr. Chen, my family just spent $47,000 of my money without asking and gave me a $10 candle for Christmas. I'm very sure. When I got home that evening, there was a message on my answering machine. Victoria. Margaret, hi. I was just calling to see if you thought about dinner this weekend. Also, I wanted to ask if you could watch Luke and Emma next Friday night. James and I are going to a conference in Chicago. And you know how expensive babysitters are. Call me back. A conference in Chicago on a Friday night? Right. I deleted the message without calling back. The next few days passed quietly. I went to work, came home, and researched charities online. I found 3 organizations that spoke to me. One that provided scholarships for single mothers returning to school, another that helped nurses pay for advanced degrees, and a third that supported women starting their own businesses after divorce. I was reading testimonials from scholarship recipients when James called. Mom, I got a weird notice from the bank today. Something about account access being revoked. Oh, that, I said, as if I had forgotten. I had to update some security settings. You know how careful banks are these days. But I can't access the accounts anymore. You don't need to access my accounts, sweetheart. You have your own accounts. Yeah, but, sometimes I need to transfer money when things are tight. You said it was okay. When had I said it was okay? I tried to remember ever giving him permission to take money from my accounts whenever he wanted. I couldn't. From now on, if you need something, just ask me directly. That's really inconvenient, Mom. Inconvenient for him to ask his mother for money instead of just taking it. How terrible. I'm sure you'll manage. And what about the credit cards? Victoria tried to use the one you gave us for emergencies, but it was declined. I had to get new cards. Security issues. Can you give me the new numbers? No. The word came out so simply, so clearly that it surprised both of us. No? No, James. You don't need my credit card numbers. But what if there's an emergency? Then you'll call me and we'll discuss it. I could hear him breathing heavily, trying to process this new reality where he couldn't just help himself to my money. Mom, I don't understand what's happening. You're acting really strange. I'm not acting strange. I'm acting like someone who has her own bank accounts. Are you mad about the Aspen trip? Because we can pay you back. Can you? Well, eventually, when the business picks up. James's business had been picking up for 3 years. It never actually picked up, but it was always about to. Don't worry about paying me back, I said. Just don't spend my money without asking anymore. This is really unfair, Mom. We're family. There was that word again. Family, as if it was a magic spell that made everything they did acceptable. You're right, I said quietly. We are family, and I love you. But love doesn't mean you get to treat me like a bank. After I hung up, I felt lighter than I had in years. For the first time in decades, my money was actually mine. But I knew this was just the beginning. James and Victoria weren't going to accept the new boundaries quietly. They would push back, manipulate, guilt me. I needed to be ready for that, and I needed to be stronger than I had ever been before. The $10 candle still sat on my kitchen table, and every time I looked at it, it reminded me of exactly why I was doing this. They had shown me what I was worth to them. Now, I was going to show them what they were worth to me. 3 weeks passed in an uneasy quiet. James called less frequently, and when he did, his tone was different. Careful, testing, like he was walking on thin ice and didn't understand why. Victoria stopped by once, ostensibly to drop off school photos of the kids. Really, she wanted to fish for information about why their financial access had been cut off. I smiled, admired the photos, and offered her tea. I didn't offer explanations. Then, on a Thursday morning, everything changed. Margaret. Victoria's voice was bright with excitement when she called. I have the most amazing news. Oh? James just got invited to this incredible business conference in Miami. It's exactly what his company needs. Networking opportunities, potential investors, the works. My stomach tightened. I knew where this was going. That sounds wonderful for him. It is. The only thing is, it's next weekend, and it's pretty expensive. The conference fee, flights, hotel, you know how these things are. How expensive? Well, with everything, probably around $8,000. But Margaret, this could change everything for us. This could be the breakthrough James has been waiting for. James had been waiting for a lot of breakthroughs over the years. None of them had ever materialized, but they had all cost me money. That's a lot of money, Victoria. I know, but it's an investment in our future. In the kids' future. And honestly, we were hoping you could help us out. You know we'd pay you back as soon as the business takes off. The business that was perpetually about to take off, but never did. Let me think about it, I said. Oh, and Margaret, I almost forgot. My college roommate is getting married in Napa Valley the same weekend. I haven't seen her in years, and she specifically asked me to be there. It would mean so much to me. Of course. James's business conference and Victoria's reunion, both in expensive locations, both the same weekend. How much would Napa cost? Oh, not much. Maybe $3,000 for the hotel and travel, and I'd need something nice to wear. You know how these wine country weddings are. Something nice to wear. Another $1,000, easily. So you're both traveling next weekend? Yes. Isn't it perfect timing? We hardly ever get to do things like this anymore. Perfect timing indeed. What about Luke and Emma? Oh, they'll stay with my sister. She loves having them. After I hung up, I sat in my kitchen for a long time, looking at that $10 candle. James and Victoria wanted $12,000 to take separate vacations while their children stayed with relatives. But something else occurred to me. They would both be gone for 4 days. 4 days when they wouldn't be watching me, checking on me, monitoring my activities. 4 days to disappear. I had been thinking about it for weeks, ever since my meeting with Mr. Chen. During our conversation, he had mentioned something that stuck with me. His mother had moved to a retirement community in North Carolina after his father died. She loved it there, he said. Independent living, but with support when needed. A fresh start. A fresh start. The words had been echoing in my mind ever since. That afternoon, I called the real estate agent who had sold me my house 15 years ago. Margaret, how wonderful to hear from you. What can I do for you? I'm thinking about selling my house, Patricia. Oh, are you looking to downsize? There are some lovely condos in the area. Actually, I'm thinking about relocating. Out of state. We talked for an hour. The market was good, she said. My house would sell quickly, especially if I was flexible on timing. She could have it listed by the end of the week. Patricia, I need this to be confidential. I don't want anyone to know it's for sale until after it sells. Of course. We can do a private listing, marketed to investors and relocating buyers only. No yard signs, no public advertising. Perfect. My next call was to a moving company. I need to schedule a move, but I'm not sure of the exact dates yet. It would be sometime in the next 2 weeks. Where are you moving to, ma'am? North Carolina. I had researched retirement communities online and found one that looked perfect. Asheville Gardens. Independent living cottages, beautiful mountain views, a community center, activities, the kind of place where a woman could start over and be valued for who she was, not what she could provide. I called them that evening. I'm interested in touring your facilities. I could drive down this weekend if you have availability. Of course. We'd love to meet you. Are you looking for immediate occupancy? Possibly. I'm in a position to move quickly if I find the right place. Friday morning, I told James I was going to visit my sister in Florida for the weekend. He barely listened, distracted by preparations for his Miami conference. Instead, I drove to North Carolina. Asheville Gardens was everything I had hoped for and more. Rolling hills, well-maintained gardens, friendly residents who welcomed me warmly. The cottage I toured was small but bright, with a view of the mountains and space for the things that truly mattered to me. We have one available now, the director told me. The previous resident moved to assisted living and her family wants a quick sale. How quick? If you're pre-approved for financing and can close within 2 weeks, they'll reduce the price by $10,000. I made an offer that afternoon. The drive home Sunday evening was the most peaceful I'd felt in years. I had a plan now. A real plan. Monday morning, Patricia called. Margaret, I have incredible news. I showed your house to 3 families yesterday, and we already have an offer. Full asking price, cash deal, 30-day close. 30 days? The buyers are relocating for work and need to move quickly. They're willing to take the house as is, furniture and all. It was perfect. Too perfect. Almost. Tuesday evening, James called from Miami. Hey, Mom, the conference is amazing. I've already made 3 potential contacts. This was such a good investment. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Victoria's having a great time too. She sent me pictures from some vineyard tour. Looks expensive, but you know how these things are. I knew exactly how these things were. James, I need to ask you something. Sure, what's up? Are you happy? What do you mean? I mean, are you genuinely happy with your life? Your choices? There was a pause. Mom, that's a weird question. Of course I'm happy. Why? Just wondering. I love you, sweetheart. I love you too, Mom. We'll see you when we get back, okay? After I hung up, I pulled out the yellow legal pad where I had been making lists. Things to pack, things to donate, things to leave behind. On the very last page, I wrote a letter. Dear James and Victoria, by the time you read this, I will be starting a new life in North Carolina. I have sold the house and moved to a retirement community where I can build relationships based on mutual respect and genuine care. I want you to know that I love you both. And I love Luke and Emma more than words can express. But I have finally realized that love cannot be purchased, and it should not have to be. I spent 34 years trying to buy your love and approval. I see now that either you loved me for who I was, or you didn't. The money was irrelevant. I am leaving you the $10 candle you gave me for Christmas. It sits on the kitchen counter as a reminder of what I was worth to you. Next to it, you'll find a check for exactly $10. That's what you're worth to me now. I wish you well in your lives. I hope you find happiness that doesn't require someone else's sacrifice. Margaret, I sealed the letter in an envelope and set it next to the candle on my kitchen counter. Tomorrow, while they were still enjoying their separate vacations on my dime, the movers would come, and Margaret Patterson would finally be free. I was unpacking my books in my new cottage when my phone started ringing. It was Tuesday afternoon, and I was expecting this call. James. I let it go to voicemail. Let it go. Then Victoria. Voicemail. James again. Voicemail. Victoria again. This time she left a message. Margaret, what the hell is going on? Why are there moving trucks at your house? Call me back right now. I turned off my phone and continued unpacking. The movers had been wonderful, professional, efficient, and discreet. They had everything loaded and gone within 6 hours Monday morning. By the time my neighbors realized what was happening, I was already 3 states away. Patricia had handled the house closing beautifully. The new owners took possession immediately, and the cash was already transferred to my new bank account in North Carolina. Mr. Chen had updated all my legal documents with my new address. I had vanished completely from their world, leaving only a $10 candle and a letter behind. My phone buzzed with text messages. I turned it back on just to see what they were saying. James. Mom, where are you? The house is empty. Victoria. This is insane, Margaret. You can't just disappear. James. Why would you do this? We're your family. Victoria. The neighbor said you moved without telling us. James. Mom, please call me back. I'm scared something happened to you. That last message made me pause. Scared something happened to me. Not angry that I had left. Not furious about the money. Scared for my safety. Maybe there was still something human in my son after all. I turned the phone back off. Wednesday morning, I was having coffee on my cottage porch when the phone rang again. This time it was a number I didn't recognize. Hello? Mom? Thank God. Where are you? James. He must have borrowed someone's phone when I didn't answer his. I'm safe, sweetheart. Safe? Mom, what's going on? Why did you leave? Why didn't you tell us? His voice was different, smaller somehow, like a little boy who had lost his way. I left you a letter. I found the letter. It doesn't make sense. You can't just leave your family because of money. It was never about the money, James. Then what? What did we do wrong? I sat back in my rocking chair, looking out at the mountains. How could I explain 34 years of slowly disappearing to someone who had never really seen me in the first place? Do you remember your 8th birthday party? What? Mom, what does that have to do with anything? Just answer me. Do you remember it? Vaguely. Why? You wanted a Superman theme. I spent 3 weeks planning that party. I made the cake from scratch, designed the decorations, organized games. 22 kids came to our tiny apartment. It cost me 2 weeks' worth of grocery money. But you were so happy. Mom, do you know what you said to me at the end of that party? Silence. You hugged me tight and said, Mommy, this is the best day ever. You're the best mommy in the whole world. I could hear him breathing on the other end of the line. When was the last time you said something like that to me, James? When was the last time you looked at me and saw someone you loved instead of someone you could use? That's not fair. I do love you. Do you? Or do you love what I can do for you? Mom, you're being ridiculous. Of course I love you. You're my mother. I gave you $47,000 for Christmas, James. You gave me a $10 candle. What does that tell you about how we value each other? Another long silence. Look, I'm sorry about the candle, okay? Victoria picked it out. I was busy with work stuff. Victoria picked it out. He didn't even choose my Christmas gift himself. And the money? The vacation you charged to my credit card without asking? We were going to tell you, and we were going to pay you back. When? With what money? Your business has been about to take off for 3 years, James. Things are different now. This Miami conference opened doors. I have real prospects. You had real prospects last year too. And the year before that. I could hear voices in the background. Victoria, probably coaching him on what to say. Mom, where are you? Victoria and I want to come see you. We can work this out. No? What do you mean? No? I mean, I don't want to see you right now. I need time to think about what I want from my life. But we're your family. There it was again. The magic word that was supposed to excuse everything. Yes, you are. And I love you. But love isn't supposed to be a one-way transaction, James. I don't understand what you want from me. I don't want anything from you anymore. That's the point. The line went quiet for so long I thought he had hung up. Mom, he said finally, his voice very small. Are you ever coming back? The question hit me harder than I expected. This was my son, my only child, the little boy I had rocked to sleep for years, whose scraped knees I had kissed, whose fears I had chased away. But he was also the man who saw me as a bank account with emotions attached. I don't know, sweetheart. I honestly don't know. After I hung up, I cried for the first time since leaving. Not from regret, but from grief. Grief for the relationship we should have had. Grief for the mother I had been and the son he had become. Thursday brought more calls, more messages. This time, Victoria was angrier. Margaret, this is childish and selfish. You have responsibilities. Luke and Emma are asking about you. How am I supposed to explain that their grandmother abandoned them? I called her back. Victoria, I didn't abandon anyone. I moved to a place where I can live peacefully. You moved without telling us. You sold your house without consulting your family. It was my house, Victoria. My name was on the deed. That's not the point. What about the kids? What about James's business? What about our life? Our life. As if my existence was somehow owned by them. What about my life? Your life is here, with us. You're a grandmother, Margaret. Grandmothers don't just disappear. This grandmother does. You're being incredibly selfish. Victoria, in 34 years of motherhood, this is the first selfish thing I've ever done. I think I'm entitled. We need you. No, you need my money. There's a difference. That's not true, isn't it? Name one time in the past 5 years that you called me just to talk. One time you invited me somewhere that didn't cost me money. One time you asked about my dreams, my hopes, my feelings about anything other than how much I was willing to spend on your family. Silence. That's what I thought. Margaret, you can't just cut us off. We're family. Family goes both ways, Victoria. I spent 34 years proving my love through my wallet. It's time for you to prove yours without it. Friday evening, my phone rang one more time. James again. Mom, I've been thinking about what you said. Oh, about the birthday party. I do remember it, and I remember other things too. I waited. I remember you working 2 jobs so I could play baseball. I remember you eating peanut butter sandwiches for dinner so I could have real meals. I remember you giving up things you wanted so I could have things I needed. My throat tightened. And I remember when I stopped appreciating it. When I started expecting it instead. James, I don't know how to fix this, Mom. I don't know how to be the son you deserve. For the first time in years, he sounded like the little boy who used to tell me I was the best mommy in the world. The first step, I said gently, is understanding that love isn't something you can buy or sell. It's something you choose to give freely. Does that mean you'll come home? I looked out at my new view, at the mountains that promised new beginnings. This is my home now, James. But that doesn't mean the door is closed forever. What does that mean? It means if you want a relationship with me, it has to be a real one. Based on love and respect, not money and obligation. I want that, he said quietly. I really do want that. Then prove it. After I hung up, I sat on my porch as the sun set behind the mountains. I didn't know if James would prove it. I didn't know if Victoria would ever understand. I didn't know what the future held for any of us, but I knew one thing for certain. I was no longer defined by what I could give to other people. For the first time in my adult life, I was just Margaret, and and that felt like enough. 6 months later, I was in my garden when the letter arrived. I had fallen in love with gardening. There was something deeply satisfying about nurturing something from seed to bloom, about creating beauty with my own hands. My tomatoes were thriving, and my flower beds were the envy of my neighbors at Asheville Gardens. The envelope was addressed in James's handwriting, but it felt different somehow. Heavier. More intentional. Inside was a check for $47,328, the exact amount he had charged to my credit card for their Christmas vacation. Below it, a letter written on plain white paper. Dear Mom, I know money can't fix what I broke, but I wanted you to know that I finally understand what you were trying to tell me. Victoria and I separated 2 months ago. Not because of the money situation, but because I realized I had been living the same pattern with her that I lived with you. I expected her to give and give while I just took. When the money stopped flowing from you, I started expecting more from her. She finally told me she felt like a vending machine for my emotional needs. She was right, and so were you. I've been in therapy for 3 months now. Dr. Martinez says I have something called emotional entitlement. I learned it early, and I've been living it my whole life without even realizing it. I got a job, Mom. A real job with a steady paycheck. Not another entrepreneurial venture that depends on other people's money, but actual work with actual pay. I'm managing a small hardware store, and I like it. I like earning my own way. Luke and Emma ask about you constantly. I tell them their grandmother is living her own life now, and that's a good thing. I want them to grow up understanding that love isn't about what you can get from someone. I don't expect you to forgive me right away. I don't expect you to come back or send money or fix anything for me. I just wanted you to know that your leaving taught me something I should have learned 34 years ago. You were never my bank account. You were my mother. And you deserved so much better than what I gave you. I love you. James P.S. I kept the $10 candle. I put it on my kitchen table to remind me every day of the choice I have. To be someone who gives love or someone who takes it. I read the letter 3 times, sitting on my porch with tears streaming down my face. Not tears of sadness this time, but something else. Relief maybe, or hope. That evening I called him. Mom? He sounded surprised to hear my voice. I got your letter. Oh, I wasn't sure if you'd want to hear from me. James, I'm proud of you. Silence. Then the sound of crying. I'm so sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry for everything. I know you are, sweetheart. And I forgive you. Do you think maybe we could talk sometime? Like, really talk? I'd like that. And maybe, could I bring Luke and Emma to visit you? They miss their grandmother. I looked out at my garden, at the mountains beyond, at this new life I had built for myself. Yes, I said. I'd love that. We talked for 2 hours that night. Really talked, maybe for the first time in years. He told me about his therapy, about the hard realizations he was facing, about his struggles with Victoria and their divorce. He asked about my life, my new friends, my garden. He didn't ask for money. Not once. 3 weeks later, a rental car pulled into my driveway. James got out first, looking older somehow, but lighter. Then Luke and Emma bounded out, racing toward my cottage. Grandma Margaret! Emma threw herself into my arms. We missed you so much! Your garden is huge! Luke was already examining my tomato plants. Can you teach me how to grow stuff? James stood back, watching us with an expression I hadn't seen in years. It took me a moment to recognize it. Gratitude. We spent the weekend together, and it was different from any visit we'd had in decades. We cooked meals together. We played board games. We walked through the mountains. James helped me weed my garden while the kids collected interesting rocks. Most importantly, we talked about the past, about mistakes, about the future we might build together. On Sunday morning, as they were getting ready to leave, James pulled out his wallet. Mom, let me pay for groceries this weekend. And gas money for when you drove us around. It was maybe $60 total. Nothing compared to the thousands he used to spend without thinking, but the gesture meant everything. Thank you, sweetheart. That's very thoughtful. As their car disappeared down the mountain road, I felt something I hadn't experienced in years. I felt like a mother instead of a bank account. I felt like a person whose love was valued, not purchased. The following months brought more changes. James visited once a month, always paying his own way, always contributing to meals and activities. He brought thoughtful gifts. A book he thought I'd enjoy, plants for my garden, a photo album of the kids. Victoria never called or visited. According to James, she was dating someone new, someone with money. I felt sorry for him. I made friends at Asheville Gardens, real friends who liked me for my conversation, my sense of humor, my stories. Women who had also rebuilt their lives after difficult chapters. We traveled together, took classes together, supported each other through health scares and family dramas. For my birthday that year, James and the kids came for a week. They stayed in a nearby hotel, but spent every day with me. James gave me a gift that made me cry. A photo album filled with pictures from his childhood, with handwritten notes describing his memories of each moment. "You were such a good mother," he wrote under a picture of us at his high school graduation. "I'm sorry it took me so long to appreciate it." The kids gave me drawings of my garden and promised to help me plant a vegetable patch the next spring. For the first time in years, I felt celebrated instead of used. One evening, as we sat on my porch watching the sunset, James said something that surprised me. "Mom, I'm glad you left." I raised an eyebrow. "I mean, I hated it when you did it." I was angry and scared and lost. But if you hadn't left, I never would have learned how to be a real person. I would have just kept taking and taking until there was nothing left of either of us. "What made you finally understand?" He was quiet for a long moment. "When Victoria told me I was treating her the same way I treated you. When she said she felt invisible unless she was giving me something I wanted. I heard my own voice in her words and I realized what I had become. And what was that? Someone who confused love with ownership. Someone who thought family meant having people who were obligated to take care of me instead of people I chose to care for." I reached over and took his hand. "I'm proud of who you're becoming. I'm trying to be someone worthy of your love instead of someone entitled to it." As I write this, it's been almost 2 years since I left that $10 candle on my old kitchen counter. James has become the son I always hoped he could be. And our relationship is stronger now than it ever was when it was built on money and obligation. I never heard from Victoria again, and that's fine with me. Some people change when they lose what they're taking for granted. Others just find new sources to exploit. The kids are thriving. They spend part of their summers with me now, learning to garden, to cook, to appreciate simple pleasures that don't cost anything. And me? I'm living my own life for the first time in decades. I volunteer at the local hospital, using my nursing skills to help people who can't afford full-time care. I take art classes. I've traveled to places I always dreamed of seeing. I've written letters to the charities that will inherit my estate, getting to know the people my money will help someday. I kept that $10 candle too. It sits on my kitchen windowsill now, not as a symbol of how little I was worth to them, but as a reminder of how much I'm worth to myself. Sometimes love means holding on tightly. Sometimes it means letting go completely. And sometimes it means walking away so both of you can learn what love really looks like. I'm Margaret, and I'm finally free.